LL Nation, what's goody? It's your boys, the Onora boys. Ready. We're developed and dominant. That's what we do. Lucky Lefty podcast. That dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, featuring Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you indeed drink, make sure you do so responsibly. Today's show, we're going to talk about more information, the layers of the Big Ten's media deal with NBC, how it impacts Notre Dame, and how the schedule may change in the next 5 to 6 years. Has Notre Dame sealed its independence? We'll talk about that. We're going to hear from Tommy Rees as to why Tyler Buckner was QB1, and I can't wait. If you think Malik had a crazy reaction to Braden Lindsay yesterday, wait until Malik hears Tommy Rees on today on why he chose Tyler Buckner to be his QB number one. We'll get some recruiting updates. Big kid Justin Scott out of the 24 class. Got a chance to watch his practice, chop it up with him. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then also, is Notre Dame being disrespected? We'll get to it. We ignored it, And this morning, because I ignore Paul Feinbaum most of the time, truly understand his SEC bias, so I can't take him seriously. It's like, dude, you went to Tennessee. They haven't been good for about 20 years. Like, let's keep it
consistently not good.
Consistently not good. And you have the nerve to have your chest puffed out talking about SEC football. Relax. But he was on this morning with Heather Dinich. And it wasn't so much what he said. Heather Dinich kind of got under my skin on TV, and then she went and tweeted out something that was just as ridiculous. So we'll talk about that. Might have to throw on the petty train today. Bro, let's start once again with this media deal because there are even more layers coming out. According to reports that continue to come out about this deal, we talked about it yesterday. The Big Ten is close to signing a media deal with NBC. Now, early reports are saying that it will be a B package on NBC. Basically, the 12 o'clock spot or the 3 o'clock spot on days that Notre Dame has a bye or days that Notre Dame has a prime time game. So if Notre Dame has that 6:30, that means, 7:30 Eastern, but 6:30 here in the Midwest, in the Central Time Zone. Big Ten will have the early slots. Now, what does this mean for Notre Dame? Number one, reports come out that Notre Dame is going to get $60 million from NBC. Now, keep in mind, what this does is it keeps Notre Dame's relationship with the ACC and its other revenue sports in contact, which means that Notre Dame will continue to get another 8 to 12 million from the ACC. Run it up. That's over 70 right there. Also in this deal and how it's being structured, it is going to be part of the deal. I don't know how many games, but Notre Dame is going to renew rivalries with Big Ten, its old Big Ten rivalries, such as Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State. I don't know if that is the only 3 schools in the collective, but I know for sure that the longtime rivals that have been Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue are in that rotation. It probably will include 2 of those games on the schedule, home and away each and every year, one at home, one on the road. So who would be excluded from Notre Dame's schedule moving forward? How does it impact the Shamrock series? These are interesting things we're really going to have to discuss. But in doing so, it is also being reported that Notre Dame will then receive a check from the Big Ten. Because in essence, Notre Dame is leasing its spot on its network to the Big Ten, if people understand that. NBC is the media outlet, but Notre Dame is treating it in these discussions like this is our block. So we'll wholesale to you for the early package in exchange for us adding you to the schedule, and you go ahead and break us off a little something each and every year, even if it's like 2 to 4 million.
Yeah, just a little something.
Just a little something.
Just a little
So
something.
add it all up, and Notre Dame could walk away when everybody said there's no way Notre Dame can get a big contract. Notre Dame can walk away with everything that could come to a head over the next week or so with about 75 to 80 million in their pocket.
Yeah.
Every year in media rights. Notre Dame has definitely, look, Jack Swarbrick, tip of the cap. You know what I mean? Tip of the cap. You said you were going to be patient and let things play out. Shout out to NBC for jumping on things early. You know, remember I mentioned the Atlanta Braves and how they do business yesterday, bro? They have a young player, Michael Harris, who's tearing it up. What did they do? They offered him an 8-year deal for $72 million yesterday.
Damn.
He could wait, but he took it. It's good money. They have him locked up to like 2030. That's the way they do business. NBC has done the same thing. They've recognized the brand, they've recognized the growth of the brand, and they believe that the talent on the field and the product on the field is going to resonate and get to the same level. So why wait when yesterday's price is not going to
Not
be today's
today's price.
price? 2
That's
years
right.
down the line, make the offer now at 60 instead of having to cough up 80 to 85 in a couple of years. Very shrewd business move by NBC when everybody thought maybe a month ago that NBC might be dead. You know, so
Yeah.
you have to tip your cap. They have the Thursday night package, they have the Sunday night NFL package, they have Notre Dame and college football, and now they have the Big Ten. That's a pretty strong sports lineup. If you ask me, NBC has just got an influx of cash, some infusion of cash into their sports team and their sports stations across America. And I think it's going to make an impact. Even Valley Sports, NBC, whatever affiliate you have in your local spots, is definitely going to impact NBC Sports Chicago here.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be crazy.
they said we couldn't do it.
They said we couldn't do it, but listen, how are we putting it together each and every time? I don't know. But it's that magic, I'm telling you.
Mm. They said we couldn't do it, but we're here. This is why I would like to play the KG clip after they won the championship. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. And whether people know it or not, college football needs a strong independent.
It does. It needs a strong independent because a lot of the time the independent shakes the room. And for us, in the way we've built ourselves, we're able to shake the room in many different ways. I can just appreciate how Notre Dame has been so strong in what
Mhm.
they wanted to do and how they've been able to move, and people can't dictate that to them. So that's been a huge advantage.
Absolutely. It's been a huge advantage. And, you know, I see the chat and people want other Big Ten teams. Once again, in order for things to be cohesive, it has to be their rivals. Like I said, I don't know what the rotation of teams are going to be. But right now, the cornerstone of everything is the fact that Michigan and Notre Dame will renew their rivalry.
Yeah.
That is big money for everyone involved. And right now, I'm with it. Please get them back on the field. especially after that last loss we took at Ann Arbor. Get them back on the field as
That's
fast
right.
as man. Please, please, let's get them back on the field. I'm with it because we're banging them in recruiting. We're taking all of the talent from their state.
Yeah,
Let's get it.
all the talent.
Let's get it. Get back, man.
We
Get
took
back.
all we took all the talent worth it. We
Yeah.
got the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
getting the lineman. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah. So college football, man, you need diversity. You need the little guys. You need the big time labels like you have in music. But then you need the independent artists. They balance each other off, right? Because the
Because
big time,
they have their own waves. You got Childish
absolutely.
Gambino had his wave as an independent. Chance had his wave as an independent in the beginning.
Was Chance really independent though?
Well, in that case, then nobody's independent.
Interesting, it's an interesting question. You can look at it as he was, but maybe he wasn't. So yeah, it's a great thing. Michigan, Notre Dame renewing their rivalry is the cornerstone. Michigan State was another great rival of Notre Dame, and then Purdue. Those are the three main ones that have a historical anchor when it comes to Notre Dame and their football schedule. Those are the three schools that have always been right there. Now, moving forward, Notre Dame, if they sign this deal, it seems like it's going to be not a long-term deal in the sense of like 10 to 12 years, maybe 6 to 8 years, something in that range, right? Shorter terms, which is better. It gives Notre Dame an out and an opportunity to get a better contract if the brand does elevate like we think it has the opportunity to do under Marcus Freeman. So, look, it's a win-win for everybody. Like, it's very rare, the media outlets spend this much money and you feel like, okay, everybody won. But in this particular set, and you have to look, it's about who you know. You're out in LA, bro.
Yeah,
You're out in LA. You know what it means to know the right person in LA.
that's right.
You have all the talent in the world, and it's just one of those cities where if you don't know the right person, you can't get the opportunity.
Can't get the
You
opportunity.
just
Yeah,
can't get. All you want is the opportunity just to get in front of people, and you have to know people to get the opportunity. Look,
that's right.
don't think it's strange that after all of the hustle and bustle about Notre Dame needing to go to a conference, that the relationship with Big Ten Commissioner and ND grad Kevin Warren and the great relationship he has with Jack Swarbrick, who we had Brady Quinn on here, and he was telling us that there were discussions to where Notre Dame could keep its independence, but yet still be affiliated with the Big Ten, either through a Fox contract or some other way. He said
Right.
that on the Lucky Lefty podcast. It ends up, it's not Fox and it's NBC that is making this work. So, look, relationships matter.
Relationships matter, and one thing about Notre Dame, they are well connected. Probably the most well connected alumni for its size and what it's worth and value, probably anywhere, and from a university standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. It's let me ask you a question because I see where's I got Drunk Vigo.
Young Vika.
He said playing Wisconsin would be better. Why? Why? Where Notre Dame is going, Wisconsin's program is, dude,
They're a middle of the road team,
no.
unfortunately. They just don't have an impact player that can, like they used to have. They used to have a Monty Ball, Jonathan Taylor, Russell Wilson, even going far as back as Nick Toon. Remember Nick Toon was a player for him. So they haven't been able to find that one guy, Chris Borland, So for them, it's just one of those things where it's the haves and have not of college football. Unfortunately, in the
Yeah.
Big Ten, it's a big, big gap between the haves and have nots. And for, like you said, where we're going to be playing around in the top 3 recruiting class every year, Wisconsin ain't even in the rear view mirror.
Dude,
They're
look,
pulling up 25, 17, some crazy numbers.
but it's not even that. I'm gonna say this. I believe there were 11 iterations of Notre Dame football under Brian Kelly. Last year's team might have been his 9th best team that he's had. And they blew Wisconsin out.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, if that team in turn plays Michigan last year, that's with the 2 pass rushes they had against that offensive line, that's just a bad matchup.
I can see that.
That's a bad matchup. So, look, I would venture to this. Another team that we could see come into play is Penn State. That became a rival of Notre Dame's in the 70s and early 80s. Like, if you don't like Purdue, I would rather see Penn State on the schedule than Wisconsin.
Oh,
just
100%.
From a competitive standpoint.
I think it would be more hype if Penn State, because Penn State, they get their numbers in for sure.
Yeah, so like I hear people like, man, Purdue adds nothing. That's not the point. Once again, you can be mad. This is a negotiation. And the negotiation is we can't just tell you to put there has to be a stipulation to get Notre Dame to say, okay. And when you say we want you to play your traditional rivals, that makes the ears of Notre Dame pop up and say, okay, that won't be too far from who we are and what we've done. We can do that. You just played Purdue last year. So it's not like you're doing something that is totally different. Playing Wisconsin, Minnesota. I'm an Illinois grad. I don't want any parts of coming to South Bend and playing in Notre Dame Stadium, bro. No parts. I'm honest about what that program is right now. I don't want any parts of it.
Yeah.
None. Does nothing for me. And Wisconsin is just not, from a style standpoint, Wisconsin is not, styles make fights. We just said Michigan versus Notre Dame last year would have been a bad matchup for Notre Dame. Just because of the way the team was.
It would have been a bad matchup.
Bad matchup. Wisconsin is always a bad matchup. You know why? Because they want to be physical. You're not beating Notre Dame just lining up and beating physical.
Yeah, because we got skill players.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it'll only last for so long before we just roll up some skill players.
I mean, cool. You want to see them play in Lambeau Field just for the heck of it? Okay. I would much rather see Notre Dame go play at Happy Valley under the lights.
Because you're dealing with a little bit more.
Right.
Crowd, hype.
White out.
There's some guys you probably gotta circle on the trip.
I
don't think there's anybody that you're worried about in Wisconsin. Yeah. You're just like, look, guys, we can't go out there and not play as a team.
Right.
Because they can overtime beat you with just technique and just good playing overtime.
Right.
Penn State's like, they got that one receiver that's pretty freaking fast.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get behind you. We got to make sure we got an eye on him, kind of thing.
They still put some dudes in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, look, it'll be a good look from a recruiting standpoint. So, like I said, we'll see, if these reports are true and they put the Big Ten back in rotation, then fine. Then I think you might see schools like Marshall and Cal bumped off. Shamrock Series has to stay on the schedule. USC still on the schedule. You'll have the ACC team still on the schedule. And that should be good. You won't see Marshall come in. You won't see Cal come in. USC will be the Pac-12 representative on the schedule each and every year. And then you add 2 Big Ten games. Like I said, they played Purdue last year. So they're basically just adding one more Big Ten game.
Basically.
Yeah, so it doesn't change too much. It won't change too much. I know a lot of people, might be in an uproar about it, but nah, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Like I said, if everything holds true to form, based upon the reports, Notre Dame is going to walk away with 75 to 80 million annually for about the next 6 years.
And don't let us win one.
Yeah. I agree with that. And let's keep it real. Depending upon the teams you add to the schedule, that answers all of the questions about strength of schedule, which Notre Dame ranks top 10 annually.
Yeah.
Annually, Notre Dame's strength of schedule is top 10. Now you add a Michigan, you add a Penn State on top of Clemson and USC and Ohio State, which you're playing this year. And Ohio State comes next year.
Yeah.
You can squash that.
Really
So can I get the Heather Dinich for a minute? Well, we understand Paul Feinbaum has hate for Notre Dame.
Yes.
Heather Dinich had the nerve to go on live TV this morning and say that if Notre Dame loses to Ohio State and runs the table, they will have difficulty getting into the college football playoffs against another one-team conference champion. First, I need you to find the one-team. The SEC champion is gone.
Yeah.
Period. Right?
Period. Every time. And damn near both of the teams that get in the SEC championship is going.
Yes. Last year was an aberration, right? Because you had clearly Alabama and Georgia, regardless of what happened in the SEC championship game, were two of the best 4 teams in the nation. Like you
100%.
knew that going into that matchup, right? So you knew those two more than likely would end up in the college football playoff. And the loss to Cincinnati hurt Notre Dame, and they played themselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
They played themselves with that loss. I don't see that this year in the SEC. I don't see it. And it's either going to be Georgia or Alabama, one representative from the SEC. Big 12, who?
Cool.
You talk about the Pac-12. Who's going through the Pac-12 with one loss? Maybe Utah?
Maybe Oregon.
Oregon opens up with Georgia.
Yeah, if they lose that one, they can still win it.
Look, and then the Big Ten. Ohio State's winning the Big Ten. That's just the way I feel.
Ohio State's winning it, for sure.
Regardless of what happens on September 3rd, Ohio State's better than the rest of the Big Ten.
By leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and Michigan comes to Ohio State.
Yeah, so Michigan just doesn't, no.
Could Michigan upset Ohio State? They've done it before. No. They've done it before. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen this year. You heard what CJ Stroud said.
Yeah.
And usually when the number one quarterback speaks, he means it.
It's almost like CJ was like, look, man, if we can fast forward to November. These dudes have been talking a lot of trash. We're about to hang
Ohio State really can, after 9-3, Ohio State really can't fast forward to the end.
Yeah. Look, they tough matchup. Now, their toughest matchup historically has been, whether it's on the road or at home, Penn State has played them tough.
Yeah.
Penn State it was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter last year at Ohio State. And they've gotten Ohio State a couple of times up at Happy Valley. Right? So, look, like you said, that Penn State program has some athletes and they can play. I think they're ranked, I saw the 4th or 5th best secondary coming back in all of college football. I said it last year early in the season. Their secondary was going to be able to compete and give the wide receivers at Ohio State more trouble than anybody else. And that's exactly what they did, because it was the running game and Travion Henderson that really won the day against the Penn State Nittany Lions that last year in that matchup in Columbus.
That's
So
right.
from a scheduling standpoint, strength of schedule, everything that needs to happen, Notre Dame is going to be in a very good spot. Notre Dame is not being overranked at number 5. Notre Dame has not been overranked. I think they've been overranked one time in the last 6 seasons, bro. I think they started in.
You said overranked one time?
Yes, which means where their preseason rank is, they've ended up a better team in the final rankings than they were ranked in the preseason rankings. So then they like this whole talk about Notre Dame is always overranked. That's look, the facts state that's not true. It's just not true. Notre Dame always outplays his rankings. And if history holds true, that bodes well for Notre Dame moving forward in this season. They sit at 5.
I think Notre Dame gets the bad rep because they give us the rank and then we lose to Cincinnati and then they don't give us any credit after that.
Right.
So I think the best part about what we're doing is that now with the TV deals and how the Big Ten has to almost structure into playing their best teams against us, there's no way that a Cincinnati on a schedule, even if they're good, can outweigh what we have, even if we lose that game. Because if we're putting a Michigan with an SC, with a Texas, you're putting Clemson in there, you throwing a Pac-12 team in there one time, another Pac-12 team. It's like we can lose a big game like Ohio State and still have other games that can get us back in contention.
Yeah.
That's the way we want to really structure it. And I think this TV deal is going to really help it. So preseason ranking us at 5 is really good for us because we're not looking to drop below 10. And we're only looking at the teams that are above 4, 5, 3, and 4, 3, 2, and 1 as that's our only competition because at the end of the season, it usually is.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay Gibbons, thanks for tapping in, says, I think Indy should be paying you just for talking nice about them. This is the problem. See, I don't know about other fan bases. I don't know about other podcasts. I just know about Lucky Lefty podcasts. It is what it is. Notre Dame, they are who they are.
They are who they are.
They're a top 5, top 6 program over the last 6 to 7 years. The wins and the stats prove that.
And our 1 or 2 losses are the teams that are the other 4, 3, 2, 1 teams.
Exactly. And everyone wants to talk about how much better the SEC is better than Notre Dame. Outside of Alabama, what SEC team has blown Notre Dame out? Because Georgia couldn't.
Well, what SEC team has been consistent like Notre Dame outside of Alabama?
Georgia.
LSU literally had 2 hot seasons.
2 hot seasons. I will give Georgia credit.
Florida had 1 hot season.
1 hot season. And Georgia went down to the last possession with Notre Dame twice.
Yeah.
When they played each other.
Yeah. So if anything, we're even with them.
Right. So it's like, man, look, if you hate the brand and you don't like Notre Dame and you don't like their independence, you don't like their money, you don't like their arrogance as you see it, that's too bad. That has nothing to do with the facts. The facts are Notre Dame is a top 5 to 6 program in the country. They're going to be recruiting at a higher level than they did under Brian Kelly. And now you have to sit and wait to see if they get to the next level. They've been to 2 college football playoffs, and they failed both times. They've been blown out by Clemson in the college football playoff. They've been blown out by Clemson in the ACC championship, and they beat Clemson in that same season. at home. Was it without Trevor Lawrence? Yes. But guess what? The same quarterback they beat is the same quarterback that's coming to South Bend this year. The same quarterback that struggled, that couldn't beat Pitt and Kenny Pickett last year, couldn't get it done against Georgia. He struggled. And he's probably the same quarterback that might not have his job when he comes to South Bend in November.
Yeah, he might be fighting for his job by the time it come down to it. Because
you don't have to pay us. You don't have to pay us to talk Notre Dame, because we're not about to blow Notre Dame up to say anything other than what they are. We've been saying it. It's time to, man, we're done with all this talking. It's time to make the moves on the field.
No more need for it.
No, it's time to make the moves on the field. That's it. We knew Notre Dame as a brand was worth $60 million. We knew Notre Dame didn't need a conference. And that's what people hate. That's what people hate. I think it was Heather Dinich once again. No, it wasn't Heather Dinich. It was somebody else, on the ESPN airwaves that said Notre Dame needed a conference because, it would help with recruiting. And literally at the time she said it, Notre Dame had the number one recruiting class in 23 and 24. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's the
It's that.
And these are the talking points, people. And this is the talking points that are the callus of the Notre Dame program for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's the easy things to say. Oh, you can't go there because it's too hard to grades. Oh, you can't go there because it's too traditional and uptight.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go there because they can't get guys in the South because they can't get into school. Old, tired recruiting points that no longer exist under this current administration, which is why we had a number one recruiting class. So all the talking points you mentioning are what we fixed and got rid of. It's just you can't lazy. How do you say? You can't have lazy analysis on the Notre Dame program anymore.
Right.
Going into 9-3, the lazy analysis of these talking points that have been so easily used and easily backed up can no longer be used because we're not even accepting it ourselves. You see what we're doing in recruiting. You see what we're doing in the coaching staff. You see how we were competing with guys on the team. We getting guys coming back that could go get drafted. How many programs can say that? How many programs in the country right now can bring an Isaiah Foskey back after the season he had last year?
Yeah.
Isaiah Foskey, any other program in the country, especially watching Aiden Hutchinson go into the league. He's out of there.
Yeah.
That just shows you right there the power of what Marcus Freeman can do already. Isaiah Foskey knew his draft status was good enough to go and make some money this year. He decided to come play again because he believes in what's being built. Until another program can prove that, then I don't know, because it's not like he was hurt. Sometimes they be hurt. They're like, let me recover, whoop-de-whoop.
Yeah.
He said, I'm good. I'm coming back. And we finna win it all.
Yeah.
So you show me a program that can do that, and then you tell it, the lady that said that, there's no way you can sit there and say, oh, we need to join something to beat. No, we are it. Look at the NBC deal. NBC don't think that.
Yeah.
NBC had to give a conference a B package to a single team's A package. We have more value than every team in that B package. What conference?
Look, it is. We just state the facts. That's all.
It's a fact.
We don't have to bloviate and try to make Notre Dame better than what they are, make them sound better than what they are.
It's true.
This is who they are.
If Foskey went to Vandy, let's talk to SEC teams. He went to Vandy, he's gone. If he went to Georgia, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
If he's at LSU, he's leaving because I'm
Yeah.
leaving with Brian. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Florida, they don't even have their coach no more, so they leaving.
Yeah.
Kentucky, they would have been left because all they
Bounce.
BNs go 3 years anyway.
Right. Bounce.
So
John
Tennessee,
Calipari.
he probably wouldn't even got noticed at Tennessee. So let's not even mention them. So what are we talking about? 13 sacks anywhere on them teams in the country, they're leaving. But not at Notre Dame. We an independent school with no NIL.
Yeah.
Broski love the cafeteria food.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loved the grotto, apparently. He loved, what did he say? He loved walking to the science building every day.
Yeah.
Come on now. We keep that grass cut for a lot of reasons. You know? So let's just not poo-poo the fact that Marcus Freeman is doing things that a lot of places can't say they can do, and he's a first-year coach.
Yeah.
What about that? Clark
Yeah.
Lee talking about he want to build the best program in the country. He been coaching and can't pull no recruits. Can't go next door and pull Alabama Eli Holston or nothing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We went to Michigan next door with the quote-unquote best offensive line and got 2 of your boys ready to come. 2. We had one committed, and the other one called to see if he can still come.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a first-year coach. That's a defensive guy. That's crazy.
Notre Dame might be the most important football program in all of college football. I didn't say the best.
No.
Notre Dame. Look. If I catch flack for this, I'm cool. Come see me
I'm cool.
at SD2 Mics. Notre Dame might be the most important college football program in all of America.
Like all of America.
All of America. All of America.
What they say on Locked On? What they say on Locked? Tell them what Locked On said. They said
we're glad to have you guys because the fans have been begging for Notre Dame coverage. Begging. Look here, man. We don't have to oversell and overhype Notre Dame.
We got Netflix on Notre Dame campus.
The Notre Dame football program is international. It's not regional.
Look,
it is international.
Why do we got Canada? We got Canada watching football now more than the CFL. We got what they say, Mapletron.
Look,
we got a Mapletron.
Look, man,
we bought a dude from Germany. What
you're talking about from the recruiting standpoint?
Hold on.
I'm talking about business. I'm talking about business, Subway alumni, connections, selling out overseas. Who's selling out? 80,000 overseas. Alabama's not.
Football in Ireland. The one game we're having in Ireland will be more attendance than what the stadium is built for. The stadium built for soccer or badminton or one of the two. We'll have more in attendance for the one football game in 4 years.
Oh, man. Look.
We so on brand, it's crazy.
We just spit the facts.
It's facts.
And you can be mad at the facts all you want. Yes, we've gotten trounced in the college football playoffs. Yes, we haven't beaten a good team under Brian Kelly. But that still has zero to do with the brand power. Still has zero to do with the fact that the current players in that locker room have made 2 college football playoffs and have upset Clemson.
With no conference.
I'm talking about the players that are going to take the field this year. Let's not act like they don't have any success or haven't had success. They mark 10. They walk in the locker room and put 10 wins on the board every year. Like, we already know that. That's happening. Now, let's try to exceed.
I mean, because you can really say the same pitch for Alabama and Notre Dame. Look, you come here, you're gonna be in a chance for a lot of titles. You're gonna win a lot of games, and you're gonna get a chance to go to the league. You're gonna be on primetime TV. What? What? We okay, but the thing is, we haven't won it yet. But that's why we recruiting you, because we can get there. We there all the time. Shoot, we play till it get real cold outside.
Maybe we should be making the pitches to the recruits. Maybe we should. Maybe we should be on staff. Let these recruits know that are being fooled by all these other programs with this NIL bull crap. Like, look here, man. Stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
Think about it. If Georgia, as nationally gifted, generationally gifted that defense was, how many people did they get to stay? How many people did they get to keep to run it back? Do it again. They so disloyal the program. They went to the championship and the starters left
and transferred to their rival.
so not even the team that won the championship can do what we can do.
Bro, you know how that feels? That cat Burton walked into the office the week after winning the national championship with Coach Smart. I just want to let you know that I appreciate everything you did for me, but I'm going to go ahead and enter my name into the transfer portal. Son,
and like 4 DBs. Like, it was like 4 DBs too.
Son, you want to transfer? Yeah, Coach, I think I want to transfer. Well, where are you thinking about going? Alabama. We just beat Alabama. I know, Coach. But I got a better chance of going to the pros in my position if I go there.
So, have you seen your quarterback? Our quarterback has a part-time job painting houses and stuff. He taking internships and all type of business MBA qualifications. He's not serious.
So basically,
quarterback over at Bama is going to be playing on Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night football over at Bama. Over here, he might be doing my insurance in a couple of years and be getting great business in Georgia because he won a championship.
Oh, bro.
He ain't looking to play. Come on, man. Look.
This has gone totally left, man. But I thank LL Nation for their comments and kind of guiding the conversation this morning because, look, that's not what we do on this podcast. We don't Notre Dame, they are who they are. And because they are who they are, there's no need for us to really, like, we're good. No need for us to blow VA.
That's all we saying. Yeah, that's all we saying. Notre Dame is the most important football team, program, culture changer, trend setting leader in sports right now.
Yeah.
Right now we are. And we, you know what? We might even pull off Bryce or Bronny.
We would have to have a Nike apparel deal to get Bryce and Bronny.
Hey, but listen.
I'm gonna stop you right there. If you don't have that swoosh, you're not getting Bryce and Bronny. It's not happening. Lucky Lefty podcast. So this is what Heather Dennett said that further infuriated me. As a fan of CFB, I am hoping we all get an instant classic matchup between Ohio State and Notre Dame. But my gut says, well, you need to take some Pepto-Bismol. If your gut is saying this, my gut says it's a lopsided loss for the Irish. No Avery Davis is a problem for the Irish offense that already had to keep up with the Buckeyes. You are basing your analysis of a lopsided victory on the fact that Avery Davis is not playing. No disrespect to Avery Davis. Dude, we love Avery.
Nothing to do with Avery Davis.
I can't.
This is the lazy analysis now.
I can't do it, man. I can't.
I can't.
Hey, bro, go ahead. Go ahead. I can't do it.
This is why people need to get their blue check taken. Okay. Because now you putting out all this extra narrative, this fluff, this 2-second analysis of a situation. You must have sat there and saw ESPN at the ticker. Avery Davis out, and you ran to your phone. Neglected the fact that we number one in recruit, neglecting the fact that we got everything in place. Did you forget our offensive coordinator was just about to be all in the NFL and in the Rams? And so we got plans and structures and systems. But you making this about one player? This is why you can't take these people serious. You got to tune into Lucky Lefty podcast, and we appreciate the fans because you coming to the right source. You go out there and that disinformation, Elon Musk was right. There's a bunch of bots out there with this misinformation, disinformation, putting all this garbage out to, you know what it was? They want you to lose your money. That's what I'm going to think it is. They want you to lose your money and put 15 points on Ohio State that they win. That's what they want you to do. Vegas and these blue check frauds are out here trying to steal your money. That's what it is, because that don't even make no sense. Avery Davis is great. Avery Davis ain't played since I don't even remember. So it just shows that she ain't tuned in no spring game. She ain't tuned in and nothing going on. And it's crazy because the only thing she probably watched was the Hangover commercial. And what's crazy about that is Avery Davis ain't in the car. Michael Mayer's in the car. That's who you need to be talking about. Michael Mayer's in the car, not Avery Davis. So for you to not even acknowledge that shows me that you out here. It's crazy.
He was the third option, bro, in the passing game. Maybe. No, fourth behind Jaden Thomas. He was literally the fourth option in the passing game. She's worried about the offense. Forget our running backs and our offensive line. Forget all of that.
Forget that.
She's worried about the offense. I can see if she said, I'm worried about Tyler Buckner as a first-time starter.
She didn't even mention
the quarterback. She mentioned the fourth option at the quarterback position.
And then said that's going to hinder us from keeping up with him. Keep it.
Last I checked, the offense is not on the field, but the other offense at the same time. The last I checked.
See, but they want to call us mean and all type of names because we talking about what you're right. What you're right. Not who you are. What you're right.
Right.
What you're right. What you wrote out there deserves to get the blue check taken because that's crazy.
Yo, it was that. I overlooked, bro. I told you, we're not going to talk about Paul Feinbaum. I don't care what he says. When they both were on this morning and I heard her say that, and then I saw her tweet, I said, no, we got to get her. We got to get them both. We got to get them both because this is just not about her. We got Feinbaum first. We talked about his Tennessee program and his volunteers. And now Heather Dinich, she has to get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And people just don't like the fact that we speak the truth.
That's all it is.
That's all.
That's all it is. This is the truth hour.
No, you don't have to exaggerate the best brand in college football. You don't have to exaggerate that. You just don't. Like, no other program could go get 60 to 80 mil independently. No.
And you know what's crazy? We've been doing this since radio. Since before you even cut on the TV.
You know what? Notre Dame might be Kendrick Lamar. What I mean by that, or you could say Drake. I know that'll make you happy.
Oh, listen.
When you drop when you drop so many consecutive mixtapes that are so hot as an independent, that now the majors come at you with the money, and they're not coming at you with the money to own you. They want to partner with you.
Mm-hmm.
NBC is coming to Notre Dame like, we want to partner with you.
That's right.
And in partnering with you, we want to make sure it's cool that we bring the Big Ten on your network
On your network.
for the early game.
Because we have to make partner decisions.
Partner decisions together.
Yeah, we're business partners. So I'm not about to make no move without your consent.
Exactly.
Because they're going to be waiting whenever I call them. They're going to be there.
Exactly.
But it don't go without you saying okay. Because I'll partner with you. Because with you, you make everybody money.
Right.
You don't need nobody to lean on or need to win all the time to make us relevant.
Facts.
You stand alone.
Facts.
I'll draw some history. It's the difference between a pyramid, which is a freestanding structure, and then you go to South America, you get a mud mound where they put a bunch of dirt together and then put rocks on top of it. It's a difference. We are standalone. That's why we still standing. 30,000 years later.
Against everything. No
still
matter
there.
who invades, the weather elements, sandstorms.
And they can't duplicate it. It's older than all the stuff we got right now. And they
can't even figure out how we put it together. Some people think the aliens did it.
They'll say underwater people, spaceship people. We stand alone.
Oh, man.
So how do you not want to partner with that? That's all I'm saying. Best brand in sports.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So we thank our guy Joe Long for tapping in. Said good arguments for ND, but for me, it's all about Rees. I have no faith in his abilities as a motivator and a coach, which is very interesting because when they announced that Tyler Buckner was indeed QB1, Tommy Rees met with the media and explained why Tyler Buckner was indeed the starting quarterback for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
We made the decision as a staff and as a group, and we're full steam ahead.
You started a game in a hostile road environment as a very young player here. What's the biggest challenge that comes with it? Is there anything you would take away that to help Tyler go into Columbus?
Yeah, I'll be there for Tyler every step of the way, but you got to remember he played 3 quarters in Blacksburg. That's a hard place to play, and he operated at a high level. And if he had zero experience going to this, then you try to create all these different environments and opportunities for him to learn. But I think the way he handled himself in critical moments last season, provides us with some ability to see how he reacts in those situations. You're going to talk to him here in a second. I doubt he'll show any emotion. And, he played in 4-minute against North Carolina when we needed a drive. He went in there on a second down play and converted to Mike. He was in there at the end of the game against USC to close it out, in the goal line situation. He was in there for Virginia Tech. He made big plays against Toledo when we needed him. So this isn't a guy who hasn't played. This isn't a guy who hasn't played in big moments. And I think a lot of the confidence we have in a staff, started last year and has continued to build through the last 9 months.
First of all,
I was waiting for that face. I knew that face was coming.
First of all, there's a clear distinction between how Tommy talked about Ian and how Tommy is talking about this situation. Tommy is giving you what he gave with Ian was, man, that's my guy. I call him after practice and we just talk about football. I hope he never leaves. Tyler is, I'm gonna be there for him, he did a good job. We ready to go, which I have a problem with because one, Tommy is about as inspiring as that plain t-shirt he wore up there, which, in my opinion, is why he can't get his own clothing line because it's uninspiring.
You're so crazy.
I think Tyler Buckner is good in this situation because I don't think he needs to lean on on Tommy for the mental support. Because I do think that Tyler Buckner has enough confidence in himself to where he can be like, okay, I got this. I'm about time. I'm ready to roll. Just tell me what I need to do. So I do think that that's not going to hinder their relationship. But also, I'm upset with the fact that you're talking about the little weeny teeny moments that you played him all of last year. You didn't play him at all in the Fiesta Bowl.
Mm.
That don't give me no confidence that you have confidence in him. Because that's the same thing as saying, yeah, the shotgun works. You know, a couple times they got close, boom, blew him away. But you're not going to war with the shotgun. The shotgun only good in special cases. So now you telling me you finna run out there and go to war with a shotgun and say that's going to lead the charge in those moments where you was handling them special situations is you can span that out and say, "Oh, are we ready?" No, you didn't prepare him the right way leading into the season last year because he should have been playing more than last year. You didn't come out. You had Marcus Freeman tell you who the starter was, not you. Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman said that he Tommy was the one that made the decision, came to him, consulted with him, and then Marcus Freeman.
But it doesn't sound like he's Ian Book. It doesn't sound like this is his next Ian Book. This is like, we had to make a decision. I went this way. We ready to roll. To me, obviously, you should have had Tyler Buckner the whole time. If you were serious about being here, number one, because it would have been important for you to get on this development. Because for real, at this point, Tommy, you got to bring a top 10 scoring offense to Notre Dame next year. That's
a lot to prove. He has a lot to prove.
Top 10 scoring offense, not top 10 in yards, not top 10 in first. That we need to be top 10 in scoring. Because all this hype you get and all this power you got and the uncertainties of development, this needs to be your resume if you planning on taking that next step or whatever the case may be, because it's hot. The seat's hot because we got too much talent. And we will never forget that Marcus Freeman, at the end of the day, you was already in the house when he moved in. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be firing on all cylinders. I believe you have the ability to do that because everything is at your disposal, even with injuries.
Now, that wasn't the end of it because he was asked about something he said previously. I believe he met with the media on the 6th of August and talked about a special sequence that showed him what the offense could be with Tyler Buckner at the helm. And he was asked about that. He doubled down.
I think it was an opportunity to give both guys the ability to play to their strengths. And Drew had a great night that night too. It wasn't like it was it was just, this is the vision of what we can see moving forward. And it has been a balancing act of, hey, we got kind of two systems that we're operating, but my job was to give both guys opportunities in their packages and personnel, not packages, but in their strengths, right? Like we wanted to give them opportunities to go out there and operate at a high level, given off their skill set. And both of them did that. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds schematically on what we were doing, but, there just seemed to be an ownership and a confidence that Tyler was out there playing with that night. And, that started to lead into some good practices, and then we felt the confidence to make the decision.
We need to be fair and say who the better player was from the beginning.
Facts. It's been evident.
If Tyler's going to take us to the championship, there has to be no split decision on who could have been better in what situation. We know who was better. Who should have been better from the beginning. Not that Drew is not that competitive, not that Drew can't do the job. This is about winning championships. Tyler Buckner's the better talent. Just call it what it is. Of course, he got more confidence. He knows he's the better talent.
He thought he was the better talent last year, bro.
He thought he was the better talent last year.
He did.
And so
did.
him thinking he the better talent last year, Drew was third string last year.
Well, I'll hold off. I
On
know
the depth chart.
Why Tyler steps on the field and feels like he's better than everybody else, but I'll let that type of swag go until the season.
Here we go.
I'll let that swag go.
And he's going to need all of that too this year. But the confidence was always within Tyler.
Yeah.
It's when did the confidence get in Tommy? That's the question. Tommy should be speaking for himself. I trusted Tyler at this moment because we already know on the podcast we've been talking about Tyler Buckner's ready to start mentally. Like he's like, oh, I'm ready to go out there, just do what I do.
Right.
But if we knew that, what was taking you so long? Because Tyler's a better talent than Jack.
Yeah.
In a transition year. So now we don't have any more transition years. We've transitioned. We've got all the players and then some. We got more coming on the way. You didn't got your franchise guy, so apparently, So how are we moving now? There's nothing to see but a top 10 scoring offense. That's what I know. Because anything less of that, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
So that's your minimum this year. For
Top
you,
10.
it's like top 10 or nothing.
And your quarterback got to be a draftable player.
That is a must. I agree.
First and second round.
I agree with that.
The quarterback got to be first or second round, and you got to have a top 10 scoring offense. That's all I care about from Tom. Because if you got them two things, you're the person that everybody's saying you are, and we're going to win a championship. That's what's been missing from Notre Dame the last 15 years. Top 10 scoring offense and a first, second round quarterback in the same year. We can't have a top 10 scoring offense with a quarterback with 15 touchdowns at the end of the season. That's not championship. The formula is top 10 scoring offense.
Yeah.
And first or second round quarterback. That's it. If Tommy's going to go to NFL, if y'all want to give Tommy all this my admiration and every this, that, and the third, that's what needs to be the result of all of this.
Yeah.
So why I say it's so important, you need to say Tyler's my guy, because that needs to be your guy for real. You can't be half-hearted on your guy that needs to have these type of production numbers. And you like, man, Drew did good too. Let's not wash that away. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's not about that. Drew's not the talent Tyler is, period. Move on. Develop the kid. Make him a first round, second round talent. Use your offensive talent to make that happen. Get some more guys in the league and involved, and we straight. Because that's all we care about.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Look, I'm always the voice of reason when it comes to Tommy Rees. I'm glass half full. I'm very GC when it comes to Tommy. I'm going to give him a chance. I'm giving him a clean slate. I understand why you and other people have him on the hot seat or have the high expectations and say no more excuses. I'm just saying, look, it's put up or shut up. Clean slate. Let's see what you can do.
It's a clean slate, but
clean
then
slate.
It's a hot.
Let's see what
all
you
I'm
can do.
saying is they're not going to give a clean slate to Marcus Freeman. We lose this first game. Because what are they going to talk about? The Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
They're like, shoot, I mean, you already lost that one. I mean, we tried to wipe it clean the first time. How many clean slates can we get?
Right.
So if he ain't getting no clean slate, Tommy ain't getting no clean slate, period. So we can lose that Ohio State game. I don't want to hear nothing about no Marcus Freeman. I just wanted to be, we just had a bad game. Okay, they beat us. Move on. We on Cal.
Yeah.
But me and you both know.
Yeah.
They gonna be calling for hands to roll.
Yeah.
I'm not about to. I just want my piece to be out there so I can just be like, remember I told you. So there we go.
Yeah. So we found out this morning that it was speculated and we were hearing a lot of things, but we said it on yesterday, bro. that we hoped that Xavier Watts would have the same heart towards his team and what was needed in order to elevate that above what he personally wanted. He was approached in the spring to switch to wide receiver and was adamant that he wanted to remain as safety. Now, you go back to his high school career, he played both and played both very well coming out of Omaha, Bergen High School. 4-star, ranked high. And that just, he represents, they got Jordan Johnson in that class as well. He's a 5-star wide receiver. But it just kind of represented them losing out on other guys and signing him, right? And that was just kind of like that. The failure of that wide receiver class is really starting to show up. It's really starting to show up, right? Because they got Jordan Johnson. Jay Brunell was in that class. He's since transferred to Yale. A.J. Henning chose Michigan, and he is literally 70 miles away from Notre Dame, chose to go to Michigan. And then Jalen McMillan, another 4 or 5-star, chose to go elsewhere. And that class and the failures to get good receivers in that class, now you're paying. You're paying because of simple injuries that happen to every football team. Now you're paying for it. So he comes out to practice this morning and he's working with the wide receivers. He's made a decision to go ahead and play. He was going through drills. Because he's going through drills, he's going to learn new releases. He's going to have a release package. Maybe he'll know the playbook better. Maybe he'll understand the position better, and maybe he'll like it a little bit more than he did under his previous coach. I'm just saying, maybe things will be different.
Overall, what is it? Overall technique, culture, food, clothes, everything better. And you're gonna learn that if they get close to you, nobody can handle you in the country.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have them skills. Crazy.
So let's see. We talk about that, and just remembering him, he was expected to be, I think he ran a 4.49 in high school, and he's probably a little faster than what he was right now in college. Is that safe to say? 4.49 is not bad coming out of high school. He's not a burner. It's not bad, but he's probably better than that right now.
Probably a low 4.4.
Yeah, so that's pretty good speed. And the thing is, he was thought of as a slot receiver. So it's like, okay, go ahead. That works. Let's get him into the slot. Man, he looks good in and out of breaks. I will say that.
Yeah.
He looks natural at the position. So that bodes well. And then also, I just want to give LL Nation, because he's been so thought of as a defender and as a safety, and it's been such a long time that I really want to give LL Nation a look back at what he was, as exactly what he was coming out of high school. So these are highlights. You can go up and get it. Good speed, like I said, 4.49 in high school. He's playing in Omaha, so you can question the competition, but look at that. The athletic ability to go up, snag it out of the air. You have to like that.
And that's just the interesting thing about elite college football when it comes to athletes like this, is that just like the NFL, you almost have to become a specialist due to the fact that everybody's talented, everybody can run, catch, this, that, and the third. But if you're not a technician in a certain position, It's just hard unless the coaches are really smart and in tune with what they want to do and how they see you fit
Yeah.
to just roll you out there on a consistent basis when they're recruiting guys specifically for specific positions.
Yeah.
Now, if you went to a team that was like a Wake Forest or a Coastal Carolina and you're a 4 or 5 star with the talent of like a Xavier Watts that can do it all, those are the programs where you can go do it all, where you don't have to be specific in one area or another. Because at Notre Dame, you really come in to play a role. You really come in to fit into a offense designated for you to be good individually at whatever skill that is. If they need you to be fast like Braden Lindsey, you're going to be running go routes and posts. And you better be open on go routes and posts.
Right.
Xavier Watts is not a go routes and post guy. He's a guy that you can do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. He can tackle. What a high level powered team like this is, with the expectations that we're giving, you can't. It would be dangerous to just roll a Xavier Watts out against Ohio State unless you knew he was in one position or another. But if you putting him at receiver one play, throwing him on defense, throwing him on kick return punt, it's like you got to get a flow at some point. And all that comes to just like Rico Flores. Rico Flores got the ball in his hand all the time. Can he play without the ball in his hand? Can he run a couple routes and as the second and third read and still get open? Still have the same enthusiasm getting open? You know, so these are things when you're going to a team like Ohio State or Alabama or Notre Dame. You got to be special in what you're special and being asked for. Like the reason why Alabama's receivers worked is because they were special for what they were asked to be. Henry Ruggs was the fast dude.
Right.
Him and Waddle the fast dudes. Jerry Jeudy gonna be an in-between guy. Devontae gonna be your down the field. He gonna be your big play. He gonna be your third down guy. You look at a room like a guy like Avery Davis, it's like, well, eventually if he's out there enough, he's gonna pop. That's not gonna beat Clemson. And it didn't. He had some good opportunities, but they were few and far between. Michael Mayer had some good opportunities, they're few and far between. So we have to be clicking on all cylinders, starting with that quarterback position to make something like this work. So Xavier Watts is a special position, just like a lot of two-way guys, Emil Wagner's in a position like that. Because you're either an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman.
Right.
Harry, he's still gonna look at you like, man, you better decide. who you rolling with? Just like the GC knows. Jesus didn't like a fence rider. What side you on?
That's facts.
So I think as great as the talent we're collecting, you need to pick a side.
I couldn't have put it better myself. You even snuck a GC in there. Lucky Lefty podcast. Yo. Ultimately, Xavier Watts coming over it's the perfect, like when you have a guy that came in, was recruited, and actually spent time as a wide receiver, right? He's really coming back home. He's coming back home. He has the ability. He's athletic enough. And what you're asking him to do is not to play a major part. You're asking him to be the fourth option, the fifth option.
Yeah,
right?
seriously. At
That's
least just
really
for a
what you're
year.
asking him to do.
Yeah,
You're
like we
asking him
asking
to do
Jaden
that.
Thomas to be a nice third option.
Yes.
Win your one-on-one here and there. You may not get the 1,000 receptions this year. But hey, you can have some moments in the season where
be that dude. And speaking of
that
that,
dude.
he talked about why he has the ability to be that dude.
Yeah, Coach Stuckey, he's definitely improved the whole receiver room and how to read coverages. Just looking at the DBs, their tails, their feet, their hips, knowing when they're opening up, where we're supposed to fit in, whether it's a route, it's an option, in break in, whatever, and how to get open and read coverages up there.
You need to hear that again, bro.
Man,
You
D&D.
need to hear it
That's what I
again.
heard.
It seems
That's
like
what
a
I heard,
broken record,
D&D.
right?
Yeah, Coach Stuckey, he's definitely improved the whole receiver room and how to read coverages. Just looking at the DBs, their tails, their feet, their hips, knowing when they're opening up, where we're supposed to fit in, whether it's a route, it's an option, in break in, whatever, and how to get open and read coverages up there.
So I just am finding it so crazy that a man that can come in there for such a short amount of time, the receiver talking about change the whole room. What did you have to do that?
The whole room.
He said,
That's what he said.
He said, we know how to read a defender. We know the coverage. I'm like, are y'all talking about the quarterbacks? Or y'all talking about receivers? I mean, the man, it seems like the room is confident in their ability. And if they confident in getting open, Tyler Buckner needs to be hitting some wide open stuff, it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
Trey Lindsey said he gets somebody on his hip, it's over with.
That's what he said, bro. He said it with his chest.
If somebody on his hip, nobody can hang with him.
He said it with his
And
chest.
Trey Lindsey, your third, fourth option.
Ray Lindsey said it with his chest, bro. Like, hey, let me tell you something.
Well, this is the fastest I've ever felt. So I'm always going to feel the most confident in my speed. More than anything, I feel most confident in kind of my release packages more so now than the past. I want press that plays to my advantage, and being able to be technical at the line, and then being able to use my speed. It's a huge advantage to myself. It's not something that I've had in my arsenal as much in the past, whether it be my legs or my arms, whatever the issue is, or whether it be just lack of overall technique. But now, I feel that playing at the line of scrimmage with the DB plays to my advantage, because if I beat him at the line, I feel very few, if any, can run with me.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Bumper run. Bumper run if you want to. Bumper run if you want to.
Because we've been facing that the last forever.
Right.
We ain't never got off no bumper run for real. If your third string guy talking about, not third string, if your third option is talking about don't press me.
Boy, mess around. That cat Braden Lindsey is gonna walk to the line of scrimmage and see bumper run coverage and start humming next. Close.
Next. Hey, we're gonna start putting that hand up to Tyler Buckner. We got one. We got one. He didn't look at the interview. I done put the interview out 3-4 weeks to let everybody try to catch up, listen to it.
Right.
He ain't study the tape. So,
and Jim Knowles is gonna watch the second half of that Oklahoma State game and say, "Oh, we can get physical with the receivers and press them." By all means.
The only thing the receivers been talking about is getting off some press. Wishing the DB would press up on him. So I hope he ain't looking at the Fiesta Bowl tape, because that's gonna be a bad look. You're gonna be preparing the wrong way.
But our offense is gonna struggle because of the loss of Avery Davis. We're gonna struggle to keep up.
Keep up.
And please don't go tell anybody that we're making fun of Avery Davis, because we're not.
We're not.
We're just pointing out the disrespect to the plethora of other talented wide receivers on the roster, and you want to make your analysis based upon somebody that wasn't even around this spring. That was
the man was learning himself.
Was basically a fourth option.
Who was coming off of YouTube videos.
Third, fourth option.
The man was coming off of constructing his own style of play. off of YouTube University. He didn't go to Notre Dame University. He went to YouTube University. She looked at that and was like, that was going to be the determining factor for keeping up. Not even, I'm like, you ain't even look at the running backs, the O-line. And then you acting like Ohio State finna be ripping off points here. We got a really good defense. I'm like, we got a guy that had 14. We got a guy that had 14 sacks.
Yes.
He had 14 sacks last year. Talking about he came back, he could have went to the league. Keeping up, Ohio State better make sure they can score. Come on, man. Ohio State better make sure they keep. We know that Ohio State may get some yards, but can they score? We got the guy that made the one-hand pick. We specifically have guys that made plays against your team. Highlight plays. As every time somebody talk about us, I'm like, do y'all forget we got Brandon Joseph and he did this to y'all? I played this. I sent him the Super Bowl cut. We got the coach from the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
I sent him. You know what I sent him? I sent him the Patrick Mahomes game. I said, you saw what we did to Patrick Mahomes? We got that coach. What are y'all talking about?
Lucky Lefty podcast. So look here, man. We talked about the Big Ten media deal. Gave you some layers to it as reports keep coming out about it between Notre Dame, the Big Ten, and NBC. Then we went over Tommy Rees, how important it is for him to do two things: produce a first, second round quarterback and have a top 10 offense. That was
scoring
offense,
by you,
bro. That was beautiful by you, bro. We talked about Xavier Watts moving from safety to wide receiver and how, because of Chancey Stuckey and because of his talent and what he did in high school, it should be a smooth transition because we're really not asking that much of him. He just has to come in and be a contributor when called upon. Yeah. Absolutely. When called upon.
Catch the ball when you open. That's
all. That's all. And you will be open. You will be open.
Hey, we got a guy that was supposed to go to the Rams. So,
there's a clip. Let me tell you how dope Chancey Stuckey is. There's a clip on Twitter of Xavier Watts running routes with the wide receivers. And he ran a double move and he didn't run it right. And Chancey Stuckey told the person that was throwing the ball, don't even throw it.
Don't even send it out there. Don't even send that kite out there, man. Go ahead and reel that thing back in here, man.
Bring that back. No.
Because what was that?
You got to do that again, bro. That's not it. And this is just him getting acclimated once again because it's totally different feet now. People don't understand that. Like the technique and that's used not just from sport to sport, but from position to position. Like he has good feet, but transitioning those good feet to playing safety and now coming in and out of cuts as a receiver, it's totally different, but his feet have memory of it. So it's almost like riding a bike. Like he'll get it.
But that's what I keep saying.
Yeah.
When you're at elite football, you're getting real technique from real coaches. So when you're a raw athlete, you just don't got the juice yet because you don't know. So you can't we too good to just try out receiver. We're not hiring people off the street like Georgia is their quarterbacks.
You're so bogus, man.
You're serious. We're getting the best of the best that do the best of the best. We can't be teaching Xavier Watts from the ground up because we got guys that's been footwork kings since third grade. That's what the 5 stars is for.
Bro, what is it with you and Stetson Bennett, man? You let it go, man.
All I know is that he won the championship and his starting receivers left. I have never, ever seen that.
That dude. Burton probably Burton probably didn't even tell him that he was leaving. He just bounced. Like, man, I'm not talking to this dude. Like, for what?
Yeah, he couldn't contact him because he was working his 9 to 5. He know you're a postman half the time, you know.
Oh man, we're closing it out with some recruiting news. If you guys didn't, please watch our late night with LL show we did last night. It was literally a midnight show on the East Coast, but we had fun. We thank everybody that stayed up with us. We told you guys we owed you a show and that we were going to give it to you, and we're a man of our word. So Keon Keeley, and I said this last night, look, he has not decommitted. There are reports that he's going to decommit. There are reports that he's a silent decommit. Alabama tried to get him to decommit before he left his visit. He did not. He told them he wasn't going to decommit on the visit. You saw Alabama recruits tweeting out, Richard Young, for example, I'm going to make sure that Keon Keeley decommits. Look, this goes back to what we've always said. It's a beautiful thing that Notre Dame is number one in the recruiting, number two in some other publications. This comes down to retention. And this is where Marcus Freeman has to separate himself along with his staff from what the previous regime did. Can you close the deal? Can you close the deal?
Can you close the deal?
Can you close the deal? And can you pull in Samuel Mpemba late in the season? It is.
That's a huge win right there. That's a huge.
We got some super chats, bro. Shout out to Nick Papal. There's no good tape for OSU to watch. None.
There's some tape. You know,
Greg Listman. I'm sorry, Greg Listman Jr. I hope knows game plans off the second half of the Fiesta Bowl prime recipe for Buckner to let loose. Absolutely, because Buckner was lighting Virginia Tech up as long as they played man-to-man. The moment they went to different coverages, that's when he started to have trouble. Ryan Loftus, appreciate you with the super chat. Jaden Thomas or Tobias Merriweather. Oh, right now, Jaden Thomas. I mean, if you're asking me today.
Yeah, I think Tobias will pop on the scene as the season goes on because you'll be like, oh, shoot, okay, he made a play. But Jaden Thomas is expected to be the guy to make an impact this season.
Yeah, and he has the confidence. And we appreciate you guys for joining us today. We thank you for the continued support. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petticoat Junction.
That's right. Petty Junction, pettiest stories of the day. Brought to you by Onora Whisky. OnoraWhisky.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. And if you drink, make sure that you drink responsibly. Who you got on the petty train, bro?
Man, petty train is long today.
You got a long?
You know, I just think I'm actually excited. You know, the college football season is coming up. Mm-hmm. I think it's just real petty that, you know, we're making strides as a program, and these lazy analysis of our team is really disheartening. It doesn't feel like people are really giving us the credit that we're about to show, but that's okay. I just say stay on that side when we roll out and bust some heads up in Columbus.
Say keep that same energy.
Same energy.
Keep that same energy. I like it. Yeah, I'm with you. Heather Dinich, I already put her on the petty train. And, you know, I want to go a step further. News has come down that it might be all done today, and that 8 games is what's going to be settled between the NFL and Deshaun Watson. You know how I feel about this, dude, and all the fake outrage that's been out there. We went through all of this for 2 extra games. That's what we're doing. 2 extra games. But you're doing it, for your female fan base, right, Roger Goodell? That's why you're standing strong. But you're going to settle for 2 extra games. And he's going to get paid, right?
The NFL is a mess from the
NFL
bargain.
is the biggest frauds, man.
Biggest
The
frauds.
biggest frauds. They got fraud quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? They got fraud quarterbacks in Cincinnati. They got fraud quarterbacks in Buffalo. They got fraud quarterbacks in LA. They got fraud quarterbacks.
The problem is that the NFL are too big of people pleasers. So, they really didn't want to give Deshaun no games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they took indefinite suspension off the table. So if it was that serious, they would have kept it on and would have went for it. They took it off the table. So Deshaun, like, man, I'm good. Why would I take all these games in if y'all won't even consider the indefinite? So
right.
This is just a big media show. Obviously, Deshaun, man, your habits is your habits. I mean, everybody got their thing. You just got to find a better way of doing it. Clearly, you are like the president, being an NFL quarterback, so you're gonna be spotlighted. Your money ain't long enough, like Robert Kraft. No. So some of them things you might have to, make it real personal. Get you a bat cave and set it out. Get some contracts out. Get get some security. Make it real professional.
Make it real professional.
Yeah, if you're gonna do some borderline, make it real professional. Because that's what all the crazy people do anyway. So look,
Lefty Podcast. We appreciate you guys so much. For more content, don't forget, go to Lucky Lefty Podcast on YouTube. Don't be frightened if you start seeing some graphics change. We made the announcement last Friday, or this Monday rather. Locked On Podcast Network is going to be the new home of the Onora boys. So you'll be able to see us. You're already subscribed, you're good.
We're not going to change our voice and get no country accent. The money wasn't $100 million enough to change the accent, so we're gonna stick on the same vibe.
So, but if you're a subscriber, go subscribe as well to Lucky Lefty Podcast Network, the YouTube page, where we're housing all of our player interviews like Torrey Hunter, Cam McDaniel. We saw our guy Chris Fink putting in work for the Bears with 2 receptions this weekend.
Justin
He
Fields,
joined us.
My guy.
Rex Pfluger, man, Brandon Wimbush, all of that. And we'll be posting some more. We got to post Big J's thing. So tomorrow, bro, we're going to watch this Manti Te'o Netflix and talk about it a little bit tomorrow. We'll get into it just a little bit tomorrow. And then we'll talk more Notre Dame. Practice report. We won't have a show Friday morning because I'll be in South Bend at practice, but we'll see you later on that evening with a practice report and more information. Follow us as always at Lucky Lefty Pod, SD2 Mics, Overtime Malik 8, and Overtime Malik and Malik Zaire 8 on Twitter and Instagram. So for everyone that joined us today, we appreciate you. Have a great day. Most of all, make sure that you spend it